welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
Yay! Hi, guys. After a little, it wasn't a siesta, but I am here, and we are actually Mac is going to bring two to three awesome topics. I think what it'll eventually be three. We can, lean into that one, but I am excited to hear what Mac has brought us. And I am still recovering from being sick, so I'm here to support Mac tonight. Mac's doing the thing, and I'm just this little peasant over here to say yes, Mac, yes. Unless you're wrong, and then I'm gonna call you out.
Good. Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to keep us honest. No, I like when you play devil's advocate, so I'm attempting to tonight. It's gonna be hard because I just love you so much. I'll be like, oh, okay.
Okay, he's close enough.
Yes, but I did take notes, and I am ready.
Sweet. I also took notes, so hopefully they're very much the same. We're also here with our wonderful, beautiful producer dude.
He's so gorgeous. That voice melts butter all the way over here in the States. I know. I watched it when he talks. Okay, that's okay. But hyperbole works.
Before every show, I put like a stick of butter over a huge bowl of popcorn, and I just let him talk. And
I would melt butter over Nacha if I ever met him in person, and then me and Nobody popcorn off his hot ass.
Wow.
He's bound to go wow. That's right. I mean, I have plans.
I guess I'll just videotape.
Yes, you hold the camera.
Yeah,
everyone, please down below, hashtag hot nacha.
Buttered nachos.
Buttered nacho.
Plus, we're only human,
Yeah.
You and me,
So,
baby. Ain't
all
nothing
right.
mammals, but let's
do it like they do on the beat. Never
be
be
channel. Getting ready now.
monetized. Never be monetized. Well,
We stay true to ourselves.
yeah. Actually, this totally drops us right into our first topic.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Oh, look at you doing segues. Da-da-da-da. All right. So first topic, which I had as my last topic because I didn't.
No, but it's fun. It's salty.
It's what?
Salty.
It is salty.
Yeah.
This is pretty interesting. It's pretty aggravating. Like YouTube and independent media. So you guys might remember almost 2 years ago now, they really changed the algorithm to where you would see independent media on YouTube less, and you would see CNN and MSNBC and Fox News much more, which could be okay if given some good, appropriate reasoning, but we didn't really have any good, appropriate reasoning. Just saying that YouTube wants to have valid sources for news. But I mean, if they're looking for valid sources, then they would point out, things in the Iraq War. Maybe they would point out bad things that Obama did. Maybe they would point out.
They'd say objective,
bad things that Trump did.
Or they would be subjective. Right.
Yeah.
You would want them to be objective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also they wouldn't profiteer for war. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you're beholden as a corporation, I do believe if you're beholden to as a corporation to who funds you, and those things are important. And so if who's funding you are the Heritage Foundation or black dark money. That's what I'm trying. I'm like, wait, what words am I? Use your words. Dark money or straight up corporations and corporations that make killing machines. Well, Raytheon does give lots of money, and to MSNBC, which so now you have the neoliberals that are never going to be critical of war because Big Daddy Bank, is not going to be happy about that. And that doesn't mean that they don't like war or they do like war. They're not going to, of course they don't like war. It's Democratic, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter. The majority of this country isn't. No, they
It's
can't,
biased.
because like you just said, money.
Right.
I think we're seeing a modern day robber baron phenomenon, like the 1920s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And it's not just the large media companies, it's also corporations like Amazon, and like Facebook, like Twitter.
Yes,
because
monopolies.
they want to have reputable news sources, because we're either on their platforms or they're being reported about, and they have all the monies, so they want to make sure that it doesn't hurt their product flow and their income flow, right? So they want to have things that aren't too controversial that paint them in a bad light. Therefore, they need to kind of squash independent media. So the big ticket media companies can really dominate, and they already have them in their pockets. So that helps corporations like Amazon, and also like Raytheon. But again, it also helps those like Facebook and like Twitter, because Facebook has government contracts and they sell information, like your search history and what you browse at, what you stop on, to the government, which in turn, again, pays them. And this is used for elections and just a lot of things that I can't name right off the bat anyways. And that's not the main point of the story. Hey, my
It's
Alexa.
really, really hard to hear your whispering, sweet ASMR voice. Just saying. I'm like struggling to hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not gonna go off again, is it?
You're gonna get a spanking if it does, little lady.
All right. So back to the future.
Yeah.
Back to the point. So what we're seeing now, as opposed to before, is YouTube is changing its algorithm again, and suppressing like left media channels. And not just left, but that's the ones that we're focused on. That's the ones that like we have the examples of the average subs. So I got the source from Secular Talk. He sourced Jackson Hinkle, who's been keeping
I looked
track.
up the Jackson Hinkle, and that's
Sweet. So it's pretty interesting. He said YouTube is silencing independent left creators by shoving us down in the algorithm. Don't believe me? Check out how much our average subs have dropped in the past month.
80%,
Secular Talk.
right?
88.9%.
Yeah.
Almost 90%.
And so we have 2 decades now, or a little bit more, of data. And after a big election, it always, tapers off. Not everyone is a political junkie. Yeah. Always, but it's around 20%. So the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding tastes like shit.
Yeah. Actually, heard something about banana pudding that was shit today. That's funny. Yeah. And the Convo couch is down 72.7%.
Yeah, I am subscribed. I'm part of that.
Look,
what? I was sick. I really thought there was a couple times where I was like, it would just be better not to be here. Like, it's just the pain just was too much, and
it gets pretty.
I just can't. I don't want to see. I'll look into them if I want to check them out. I don't want to see it come across my. It's not helping. Their videos aren't helping.
Yeah, I can't do it all the time.
Grow up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm silly, but they're not being silly. They're being like divisive and ignorant and hyperbolic, and I'm hyperbolic, so I'm being judgmental. But that is my opinion right now, and I can change my opinion whenever I want. I am woman, and it is Women's Month. That's all I got. Roar!
You can.
I roared.
Yeah.
No, women and men are equal. I'm just being silly. No, women have cuter butts.
I
That's
never said.
Objective, not subjective, and I will fight about that.
I've seen her fight. No further comment. The Dive with Jackson Hinkle is down 71.4. The Bad Faith podcast is down 69.7%. Frank Analysis is down 69.3. Soapbox 50. Lee Camp 50. Unapologetic.
I love Lee Camp. I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He's just a regular guy doing what he loves to do. Has he been wrong? Yeah, sure. Everybody has. He's entertaining on just a normal person level, and I appreciate that about him. I followed his career for a while, and I dig him, and I like his principles. So, I mean, I don't agree with everything, but who would,
Yeah.
That would be odd.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you
But
don't
I like
find
Lee
that
Camp. If you guys do not subscribe to Redacted Tonight, I'm not telling you to. Just maybe watch one of their shows, and it would be like just regular people like Mac and I trying to be funny. But they're also bringing really good topics up that can spark conversation without being so aggressive. And we need all different angles. We need to stop alienating people. It's disgusting. We are so better than that. As I say, I unstuck from the couch. See, we're complicated, It is what it is. They were wrong too many times in a row. And I was like, nope.
Unsub. That said, yeah, it's just down the list. It's pretty crazy.
So you would say like on an average 80%, which is crazy bananas.
At least an average of 60%. Like when you get down to the lower ones, yeah, it's like at least I would say 60.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Look at that.
Yeah. So so the only thing that I have to add to this is that if you like our video, subscribe, please watch, leave it running again and again after you've watched it to give us more watch time. No. But actually interact a little more. Give us likes, give us comments, say we did a great job, say we did an awful job, say that my hair's awful and Christy's is awesome.
Because it's objectively true.
Interaction really helps with the channel, and it helps with the algorithm. And not just our channel, but really anyone that you watch. Who's
especially the small ones.
Independent media.
Yes, give them love. And real quick, I see a Perry Comics in our chat, which I haven't seen before, who I invited over from Instagram, and I want to say thank you for showing a little bit of love. His page on Instagram is badass if you are into comics. I'm asking for a friend. It's really cool. I spent lots of time just eyeing all of the cool things in the store. I would love to go there, and it's here, close to me. So right on, dude. Thanks. I appreciate it, and I love the solidarity, especially in this area. There's a lot of cool things going on, and so thank you. I'm rambling. It's just really cool to see you here. Made my night.
Fangirl. Sorry.
Yeah. If you're on Instagram, go to Perry Comics. That's all I'm saying. Check it out. Perry.
I do.
Yeah.
How do I find more Perry Comics?
I will send you his link, actually.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I will share it right here in our chat.
Just get
How about
Instagram.
that?
This just in, I'm told just get Instagram.
Yeah, come on, Mac. It's 2021. If you're
Let's not
looking
say-
for me, you gotta take up the sea. That is where you are. I mean, I've heard it once or twice. But C-Lab was talking about 2021. And it's so funny because no. And yes, at the same time. If anybody watches C-Lab, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't. I'm lame.
I
I'm
am a
sorry.
C-Lab fan. So, all right.
All I do is watch secular talk and the Marvel movies over and over again. That's it.
You will like his store. I'm just saying. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Because I know how to do things.
Are we ready for the next topic?
Yes, we are. Are we going to touch on the infrastructure real quick before you go on to Biden's tax plan?
I actually had it second.
Hmm?
So like, the tax plan and then the infrastructure is the order that I had it on. Do you want to
Okay.
do it infrastructure first?
Yeah, let's do infrastructure first.
Okay.
Just because I don't see it up there and I don't want to forget it. And it's short.
Okay. Do you want to just go for it?
Go for it.
You go for
Okay. So
it.
mine's gonna be short and sweet.
Okay.
And no, it really will, Stacey.
Am I right, Mac?
I just say, no, you heard her, Peanut Gallery over here. Why don't we work on having the raddest infrastructure on this rock holder? Like that, why do we need to, the opposite of war is to create. And we haven't created, I mean, here and there, independent, private, but as a nation together, like when we did all of the highways, I wasn't around for that. I've done my research and I just think what a cool time when everybody could see what their tax dollars were going for, because we have bridges that need these things. We have roads that need these things, and we are just sending more weapons to places we're not even legally supposed to be in Yemen. So there's that. So we're illegally in a war that's essentially a genocide. We should be more aware of that. And so I want to use that money like any person would in any country for the people of that country, because I don't want a dime of anyone's money here to go to murdering civilians. And just try to change my mind, I guess. I don't think that you can. I am anti-war 100%. I am for defending ourselves. However, tell me a war that we were defending ourselves, and then we can have a conversation. So I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm just in our lifetime. So, and then I want to say to Biden, prove it. Put your money where your mouth is, because I don't believe a goddamn thing you say. That's all. So just short and sweet. Okay, maybe not sweet, but
That's fair. So that's a good place to start, though. Biden's infrastructure plan, which is not set in stone yet.
no, and I don't think it's gonna pass.
What?
I don't think it's gonna pass. No.
You're probably right.
No, it's like 1 trillion for infrastructure. He wants universal pre-K. I mean, I'm 100% for universal pre-K. He wants free community college. Yep, 100% for that. Read the next one.
Oh, 200 billion for housing.
I'm 100% for that. Next one.
Give or take 100 billion for green climate.
Right. Yeah, I could dream on that all day. Expanded child benefit for a few years. Okay, I did take notes on that one. Everything Biden and neo-libs bring to the table has an expiration date or is means tested. Yeah. Maybe I'm cynical, but instead of creating universal programs like we should, we're not creating change. We're creating little tiny like patch in the wall from a little hole here when there's a huge crack going all the way around the building. Yeah. And for a few years, I just, ACA subsidies, yes, but no. Then the next person can come in and say, no, we don't want that. And then everybody's at risk. We need to set in stone and in our Constitution that healthcare is a basic human right, period. Again, change my mind. Anybody.
Yeah,
What I see in Biden's lack of creating Medicare for all or any universal healthcare system is this. Biden needs to now that he's elected, pay back his campaign donors and everybody who funded him, who doles the ducats to whom is to, oh, how's it? Who doles the ducats is whom said politician is beholden to. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he's said all of his career, like throughout, like he
created
for
the damn bill.
health insurance
people.
company. Yeah, he did. As far as the housing goes, maybe you can correct me on this. I'm pretty sure to solve the homeless crisis in the USA, it's $60 billion a year. And that's something we could easily do in this country.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
200 billion for housing. That sounds good to me.
It does. I think that the amount of homelessness we have is gross.
Yeah, but yeah, I doubt that's going to be true, and I doubt like if it does pass, it's not going to be that much, and it's not going to continue, right? And who knows?
Mac, I hope you're right.
They would reallocate that money potentially, because I saw something from Mama June, showing like they're making basically robots to help police. I'm not sure if you saw that. That's a whole nother story, guys, and we'll get into it sometime, hopefully soon. But like they have like a police dog that's robotic that they want to have help police. But they also had a robot to help fight against homelessness. But what does that mean? But if that robot police officer is there to just fight homelessness, any of that money, I'm just saying, could be used on a project like that. You can just reallocate that money if you don't spend it appropriately on actually housing people, which is the thing that it should be spent on. Now, right. I don't know the depths of this bill. I'm just saying, hey, look, even when you fund it with enough money, they might not put the money in the right spot, right? Look at the $1.9 trillion stimulus package we just got, and the $1,200 stimulus package we just got last year. That's a lot of that wasn't allocated like correctly, or right. Correctly is not the right word, appropriately.
I know what you're saying.
So there's a lot there. I don't know if Christy gave numbers. I don't think she did. To just get us up to date with our infrastructure, there's a study a couple of years ago that said it would take $4.7 trillion just to upgrade our infrastructure, and Bernie had proposed a plan for about $16 trillion.
Yes, because it was to add more besides fixing. It was to fix and to create, which would what? Create jobs, union jobs, and then these things need to be maintained. So then we lose a lot of jobs and we keep on just a smaller crew, but we let them fall apart by not having anyone on a lot of them, you know, except for a skeleton crew, which can't do a lot.
It's just... And this ties in with his federal jobs guarantee, because when you create work,
Great
there's
job.
work to be done.
Right.
There are jobs.
And I love the idea of tax money going to government jobs. I love that. I think that that's great. And I like them being beholden to us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to where money maybe shouldn't be spent, we'll move on to Biden's tax plan. Specifically.
Most notes I took.
There we go. So I don't know the basic thing. Did this pass yet?
No. And it will never, ever see the light of day.
Okay. Right.
Not ever.
Okay.
No.
Well, here,
I just want to, before we start, Eisenhower, a Republican, his top rate
90.
for the best wealth earners in this country was 93%. All right, let's start.
Yeah. When you explain this to Republicans, they tend to be like, "Oh yeah, that sounds fine. Fuck the rich."
Right. Well, the
Most
normal workers, no matter what side they're on, if you come to talk to them about issues only, no sides, no ideology, no tribe, they're going to agree that workers should be taxed less.
Yeah.
Than a corporation, than a millionaire. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's my last note on this was just that, why don't we work on, no. Yeah, was wealth passed on and all money should be taxed the same, and that workers should never be taxed more than corporations. That's where we should start as a nation. There's more workers than there are millionaires and billionaires. So the majority of the country work. That's who should not be taxed out the ass. And Biden's tax bill, 28% Biden, really? You can't even go back to what Obama had? You have to just go in the middle, be a little middle cheesy guy, fence fitter is what I was saying.
I don't know what that means.
I don't think $1 billion corporation or $1 million corporation should ever pay zero in taxes, ever, unless they took their money and solved homelessness. Then I'd be like, you know what? Don't tax them $1 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
They done good. So that said, I do have the numbers.
Give them.
As of I think 2021 or 2020, without the one. So
yeah, the other 2020.
Yeah. This is 2020.1. Remember where we are.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. The richest 1% pay an effective federal income tax rate of 24.7. That is a little more than 19.3% rate paid by someone making an average of $75,000. And 1 out of 5 millionaires pay a lower rate than someone making $50,000 to $100,000 a year.
Right.
That's kind of insane. Like if they make that much more,
it's gross.
You would think that they would at least pay that much more. Like
you would think.
This doesn't happen because there's so many loopholes for the rich. Now,
offshore accounts. How do you feel about those, real quick?
How do I? Okay. I'm super glad you asked because I actually have strong feelings about those. I liken these to businesses that the ones that Fox News will say, if you charge them this high tax rate, then they will take their business elsewhere.
Bye.
To which I say, cool. You can take your business elsewhere, but you don't get to take any of the material. You don't get to take any of like your building, like any of your property that is in the U.S. because I thought America first.
Oh, right.
I thought America first because that's their own. Right. So they don't get to take any of their things away from the U.S. that the U.S. workers should be able to work with and make products with to sell amongst other Americans or to other countries. You don't get to just take U.S. resources out of the country. No, you just leave those. If you want to take your business elsewhere and build somewhere else and use someone else's resources, then you go start with their resources. And if you want to take your money, I don't know if these rates are called, but there are like exit rates that have been like introduced. I don't know if we have any.
They're not like national or universal for everyone.
Right.
You can get out of them.
Right.
If you can buy your way into an account offshore, you can get out of them.
Right. And I think if you're going to put money on an offshore.
Yeah, if you're hiding money, you have too much money.
Yeah, if you're hiding money.
That's my thoughts.
I mean, that's ethically, right? That's ethically. You have too much money. There's a good saying like behind every man's fortune is like an unseen crime or something like that.
Yeah. And I don't think that if you have an offshore account, you can run to represent the people of this country. Full stop. Because if you wanted to represent the people of this country and what's best for them, you would want them to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. And that is unacceptable.
Yeah, it is.
You had some thoughts this week, huh?
Yeah, I got so many thoughts. And I'm glad you're asking questions because it helps organize my thoughts. But I want to like say what?
You say you're welcome.
Oh, thanks. Now I forgot what I was going to say, Christy.
You were going to give us the numbers.
What?
Numbers.
Numbers
Yes. Break it on down. I have them too, so I can look well.
Was about
like corporate rate from 21 to 28.
It was meritocracy.
Yes.
Yes. So to be clear, if you are making X amount of money, I like to pull out what I looked up like 2 years ago for the CEO of Walmart. He made effectively $16,000 an hour, which is a lot. Now, the reason I am against that is because how hard do you have to work for $16,000 an hour? I think it's virtually impossible.
And to add to that, I would say the coal miner is actually doing that work, busting his back and risking his life every minute of every hour, and they don't get paid that. So you, with your $5,000 or $10,000 Italian suit on, sitting in a cushy job, yeah, you work your ass off, but your hands are soft and you're well fed, and it's unacceptable, and you know this. Yeah, and I feel very strong about that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't be rewarded for your work as a CEO, but come on.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I mean, $1,000 an hour is absurd. And I'm like, yeah, sure, have $1,000 an hour. You're the CEO. But that's right. Where it should fucking stop. God.
And I mean, for like an average amount. I mean, I understand that there are certain
actors, lawyers.
There's different professions that get paid less often.
Or more often.
Maybe they'd make $1,000 or something like that. There is gray area, of course.
Yes,
right?
Of course, and there should be.
Yeah, there absolutely should be. But when you make an
it's a good discussion to have. It's a good discussion to have, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's and it's a really interesting one because it's not that I'm against people getting rich. I'm against people getting rich in unethical ways, in ways of which it's just not fair. And I mean that by, again, using more of like a Republican argument. if you believe in meritocracy, that means like you work for the money that you make. Like you work that hard to make that much money. And I'm totally for an actual meritocracy. It's just when you bend the rules or you find a loophole to make more money doing the same amount of work or less work, or you are working harder like by 2 times, but you're making 13 times more. Like that doesn't actually add up. That's just,
I agree.
You found a loophole. You found a way to cheat the system. Finally, you did. And other people have done it before you, so why shouldn't you get your cut? It's just, well, because it's unethical. It's like, yeah, I don't
see, and I can see why someone who is conservative to that right there would say, you think you're better than me. Because ethics. And that is not what we're saying. We're saying that I like to put I like to put myself in someone else's shoes and like kind of like see how they would feel if, you know, if I was in that situation. And so that's what we're asking of you, our fellow American, our brothers and sisters, is to imagine the people who are who are less fortunate, and wouldn't you want the tax money that you have to actually help people instead of going to weapons and war and subsidies to corporations? Like, oh, I would, and we're not asking any more of you than we're asking of anyone else. And I would prefer you want to, because I want to take care of you. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the subsidies to corporations and for banks, like with bailouts that we've had before, and with the first stimulus package, it always works better to trickle up, not down. Reaganomics doesn't work for most people. It works for some people just fine, right? Socialism for the rich works for the rich. It just does. Socialism for the poor works better for the poor, right? But if you give it, if we gave all of the stimulus money to just the people, just individuals, not a single business, it would have helped the economy, because most people don't hold on to that money when they are in debt.
Right.
Studies have shown this. Whenever we do a universal basic income study, whether it's
I like that research. It's fascinating.
Almost over 60% of it goes to bills and food.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's at least 60% of it to almost every person who it goes to, bills and food, which tells you that like people aren't actually as food insecure as maybe you think, or maybe, you know, people are just buying cheaper things at the grocery store or not as healthy things at the grocery store because they can't afford it, because they can hardly afford their electric bill. And I mean, this talk goes down and down and down and down the rabbit hole. It gets back down to what the minimum wage should be.
24, 25 bucks.
If you keep up with production and inflation since this.
Yes, if we stayed steady, if we had stayed on the same course and stayed with everything from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and it changed in the 70s and 80s. If we would have stayed, it would be 22 at the minimum in some areas and 26 up to 40 in some areas. So, but we didn't do that because that would be fair. You know, Biden's tax bill proposes a 28% for, no, I think Obama's was what, 38? So go up one, be brave, 39.9, be brave actually, and do 40. Never should a $1 billion company pay I can't even imagine that. And we're not talking about that first up to $1 billion. That's normal tax. We're talking once you hit $1,001,001, then it's, you know, come on.
So, and let me get through my little list here real quick, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll get back to that.
Okay.
But for Biden's tax plan, first plan,
Yes.
the corporate tax rate goes from 21 to 28%.
Yep.
It was 35% when Trump started. So
Mm-hmm.
he's not even putting it back to Obama level at that point.
Right.
Um,
I know.
for the global minimum tax rate, that goes to
21,
21%.
right?
Yes, 21. And that's
Oh,
forcible.
it was like a punch in my stomach.
For the top income rate, that goes to just 39.6. And from what I've looked up, it's currently at 37. So that's not much of a raise. And the effective rate, as I said earlier from Google, is actually 24.7. Just because there's so many loopholes and stuff that they can go through. So a large majority of the highest tax bracket actually pay closer to what you and I pay. And then end fossil fuel subsidies. I'm down with that. I don't like giving corporations subsidies. I just don't. Tax investment gains or capital gains is with $1 million that's taxed as income, and then a tax on assets on basically the death tax or an estate tax.
I hate that name. It's inheritance. It's a wealth tax. That's all it is. I have a very strong and short feeling on that. It should be taxed as income.
Yeah. And that's not on everyone who dies, who like passes.
No, it's when people have, 5 houses and an orchard and boats and companies and, $500 million. They're leaving it all to their son, Dom Jr. I mean, if I'm just using an example, they're gaining all this wealth. They should pay taxes on it. Plain and simple. I'm not out for anybody or against or for anybody. It should just be, if I received all of that, I would not have a problem with paying taxes on it. I just wouldn't. It's free wealth. Yes, I didn't have it. Now I do. I will help.
Yeah. If you don't know what the death tax or the estate tax is, Google it.
And use estate tax. Let's call it what it is.
I mean,
it's a wealthy estate.
You should be able to Google either one, whichever one you call it. But
Google.
Don't look at Sean Hannity, because
that's how I Google.
Like it's gonna be on you. If you make $50,000 a year, they're gonna tax the fuck out of your estate. You don't have an estate. You won't be taxed like that. Okay. And then they're on the no salt tax, which is a tax hike on wealthy people, whereas they don't get a write-off on their state and local taxes on their federal taxes. It's effectively a tax on the richest people in like blue states. And they're for keeping that there, which I'm also fine with. I don't care if you're blue or red. Like if you're super duper rich, then one
super duper. If you dive into your ducats like Scrooge McDuck, we're talking to you.
Yeah, and tax. And then the marginal tax rate. This is what we wanted to get back to. For those of you who don't understand a marginal tax rate, because I mean, it took me a little while to like figure out what it was. Let's say we're gonna go a little bit Eisenhower, a Republican president. Let's say we're gonna go his route and put just a 90. I just went kind of 10th place, 5th place, even a 90% tax rate on $50 million plus. That means everything after $50 million. So $50 million and 1 cent and up is taxed 90%. that doesn't mean everything under it is taxed at 90%. That's a lower tax that stuff is being taxed as. So what I've kind of loosely proposed, mostly just for understanding and what I think would be appropriate, at least in the economy that we have, is from 0 to 30K. That's a 0% tax rate. You don't get taxed on that. None of it. You don't have enough money to pay taxes at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably in debt already. $30,000.01 to $50,000, I apply a 5% tax rate. $50,000.01 to $80,000, it's an 8% tax rate. So this is what a marginal tax rate looks like, and it doesn't mean if you
with the income
between $50,000 and $80,000 that you are taxed 8% all the way down. No, it's just between that 50 and 80
right.
that you tax that
and
much.
people do not understand this, and they hear a big number and they freak out like they're gonna take 40% of my income. No.
Right. If you make $80,000 a year, and that between that 50 and 80%, or that 15 $80 thousand dollar a year tax bracket, you don't actually even average being taxed 8%. You like average closer to like 5 or 6 at that point. And that's I feel like that's more reasonable. It really does help the lower class. Like you haven't noticed, that's more of our focus, right? Lower middle class, we want to boost those up more. Take from the rich, give to the poor, more like Robin Hood kind of stuff. Not the app, but that's what I'd like to see out of a marginal tax rate.
Same.
And there's a lot of numbers in the middle missing. I haven't gone through the whole list.
I would like to add real quick, you guys. Biden is not doing enough to Mac and I. This is a summary, real quick. Yes. However, even though it's not enough, and it's not even going back to what we had before, it's just moving a couple steps between Obama and Trump, it's never going to pass. Don't get me wrong. Prove me wrong, Biden. I know he'll never see this, and we're just like the peasants over here. However, prove me wrong. Show me that you can move it up this little bit, and then in a couple years move it up again. Maybe you want to do small incremental steps so people don't feel it so much and they get used to it. Word. Show me, and then I'll share my gushers with you. A little sour. I can't do that gracefully. Whatever. I don't know. I am a little skeptical of his tiny little baby steps. I would love to come back and say, guys, I was wrong. He actually passed all that. And I guess I would have to stand on one foot and do something silly because I was wrong and Biden was right. Maybe anything could happen, but I pay attention and I don't see any of that happening.
You say maybe Biden's wrong?
No. Oh, clutch my pearls. I do have some upcoming news. Biden will soon announce the U.S. climate goal. There's just 11 people here, but there'll be more people that see this. And if you hear me right now and Biden will soon announce his U.S. climate goal, I want you to ask him to cut climate emissions by at least 50% by 2030. Full stop. That's it. Send him an email, send him a text message. There's lots of ways to, it's easy. Google, send a letter or a message or contact Biden. It's easy. You guys are all grown up. If you live in the DC area, and I know we're not big, and I know probably no one's going to see it in the DC area. However, it could happen. And if you live there, make posters and stand outside so that they can see you and say, Biden, I want you to cut climate emissions by at least 50% by 2030. Please, guys, It's simple. Put it on your calendar that you're going to do it this week. It really matters. It really does. People need to know that there are people all over this country who are thinking about these things.
Yeah,
Democracy is not a spectator sport.
no, yeah,
That's real shit.
Definitely not. And again, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, but it is like it's about to happen. So I would like for him to feel some pressure. We know it's about to happen. We can do what we can. I mean, to know it's going to happen and be like, nah.
Yeah.
I already sent an email and I already sent a text message.
Just stop using so much water and turn off your lamps when you're not using them.
Don't make me get my belt.
How many people are watching?
Our faithful
11.
Yeah, there was faithful 13 just a little bit
At
ago.
least 10 of them just got really excited by you saying that.
Yeah.
Belt? Did she say belt? Stay tuned after Leah for
We
Christy
need to have a show called Naughty Politics
Naughty Politics.
where we have like a cocktail and like forget all the proper and just our opinions, you know? That would be really funny.
And then we'll exchange each week which one of us is wearing leather with the martini.
Ooh, how do you know I'm not wearing leather right now?
Because I can see you.
Nope. But what about down here? I couldn't have pants on or not. I could have a
Because
skirt
you're
on.
not squeaky enough.
I have a skirt. No leather. But I could have leather shoes on.
Well, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, leather shoes.
All right.
Actually, they are cat, like the tractor.
Holy shit.
Because who says liberal can't wear tractor clothes? I don't know. I'd like to hear you say that to me. Because I also have a Yeti cup. So tell me something. But I don't watch NASCAR, though I think cars are totally rad. I just get bored and a car going around in circles is too much for me. If I was driving one, it would be different. I would say everybody should get off the track if I'm driving a car. I'll stick to reading and nerd stuff because I catch balls like this. Yeah.
Sorry, I was typing, so I couldn't think anymore.
I can do it one more time.
Do it one more time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so if you guys saw our short for this week, our main topic was going to be the cost of war, and we totally didn't have that ready. So we're going to do that next.
I was really, yeah.
And that was really too, in a different way. So, yeah. We'll
we would rather give it our 100%, and if we can't, we'll do something that we can give our 100% to, and that's the truth.
But that's the goal. The cost of war here in 2 weeks. Really hope that we can do that, and really hope that you guys tune in to watch it.
And to add to that, I will be bringing my the cost of war has a lot of costs, and my contribution to this is going to be to bring you a name that's not Snowden or Chelsea Manning or Assange or all the ones we know, but a new one who happens to live here in the States and is on home arrest for a charge that is a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor that holds 185 days maximum in jail. Nobody ever goes to jail for this misdemeanor. He's been under house arrest for over 600 days in New York. So yeah, interesting, right? And this story started in 1960.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I hope.
Yeah, I'll be putting together a little teaser for you guys. So when you see something going live on LEAH, it's me teasing you guys about this story because it's going to be so good. I mean, it's not good. I don't want to say that. It's actually really, really horrible. It's just the stuff I like to dig into and like to bring to you. So don't take it the wrong way. It's really bad. It is. And we need to stand up for this guy because it could be any of us. Mac and I are sitting here telling you stuff about issues. He is a lawyer that is environmental lawyer. And that's why I just can't give you any more than that. It's
now.
I know. It's juicy. That's what it is. Not good. It's juicy. And it's unfortunate. And I'd rather it not be a story, actually. Kind of gave me the chills a couple times.
Yeah.
Habeas corpus, guys. Do we have it or not? Think about that.
It's not depressing. Okay.
Yeah. Beanie doesn't like this conversation. I will mute my loud ass.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. If you guys liked it, please give us a thumbs up. If you guys hated it, you can give it a thumbs down. Throw a comment down below saying our hair is awesome or our words suck. And hopefully we see you here in 2 weeks. Thank you so much. We'll see you Friday at 10:30 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. And
Stay humanist for godless sakes.